So you should be in John 13, 21. We're going to start at 21. Now this is talking about how Christ announced Judas as his betrayer. All right. And remember, this stems from still in 9b, about in Psalm 41, 9b, line 9b, it says, who ate my bread has lifted up his heel against me. And so lifting up that heel against him, he's talking about being betrayed. All right. Because when you lift your foot against somebody, I mean, that's why it's not good to, to kick anybody. I mean, if you're a kickboxer, then of course you got to kick somebody because that's the nature of the sport. But as far as just like picking up your feet to kick anybody, there's some, I mean, it's not even good to kick an animal. All right. Just keep your feet on the ground or on the floor and just use it to walk. All right, so let's go to John 13, 21. So it says, when Jesus had said these things, he was troubled in spirit and testified and said, most assuredly, I say to you, one of you will betray me. Then the disciples looked at one another, perplexed about whom he spoke. Now there was leaning on Jesus' bosom one of his disciples whom Jesus loved. Simon Peter therefore motioned to him to ask who it was of whom he spoke. So he's motioning. This is John who's writing this, saying that he's the one who was leaning on, Jesus' bosom. And so it was like Peter was like, ask him, who gonna betray him? And then leaning back in 25, then leaning back on Jesus' breast, he said to him, Lord, who is it? Jesus answered, it is he to whom I shall give a piece of bread when I have dipped it. And having dipped the bread, he gave it to Judas Iscariot, the son of Simon. Now after the piece of bread, Satan entered him. Then Jesus said to him, what you do quickly. But no one at that table knew for what reason he said this to him. For some thought, because Judas had the money box, that Jesus had said to him, buy those things we need for the feast, or that he should give something to the poor. Having received the piece of bread, he then went out immediately, and it was night. Now, that explains a lot. I see a lot in there, but I'm not doing a study on John. All right, God is not leading me to do that, but just something just popped in my spirit about that. I guess y'all probably want to know what I was thinking, but I'm just caught on how after Jesus had given him the bread, Satan entered him. All right, so up until that point, even though he was going behind Jesus' back, talking to, the Pharisees and the religious leaders and stuff like that to betray Jesus, then Satan hadn't entered his body yet. It was only after he had received that bread, okay, that Satan entered him. And to me, excuse me, that, wow. Then that Satan had entered his body. And he knew that he was going to betray Jesus. I mean, he had the guts to be able to do this. Then that's probably why he hung himself. Because Satan was inside of him and he committed suicide. The same way as when the demons had asked Jesus to send them into the swine. This is deep. When the demons asked Jesus to send them into the swine, into the pigs, all right, and then the pigs ran violently over the cliff and drowned in the water. So and this is, wow. Anytime, remember there are two forces, good and evil, God and Satan. When we have God living on the inside of us, when we have God living on the inside of us, then we are able to do the things that will glorify God. But if we have Satan that has entered into our bodies, then we do the things that are not pleasing to God. That's it right there. That's it right there. In the same way as David is going through all of this stuff with these enemies, is because they're being manipulated and used by Satan. Satan has entered their bodies. There's no way in this world that you would have Jesus Christ living on the inside of you. You have accepted him into your heart as your Savior and your Lord, and you're treating folks dirty. And you're portraying folks, denying folks, and all this other stuff. And you're saying that you have Jesus living on the inside of you? Really? Because only Satan is the one that's causing all of this ruckus, all of this division. Jesus even said that he comes to kill, steal, and to destroy. And if you're doing that, guess whose side you're on? What about the fruit of the Spirit? It tells us whose side we're on. Joy, love, peace, long-suffering, gentleness, meekness. All right? So I'm going to pause here, and I need to figure out where I am right now, because that just totally blew my mind right there.